We're in a society now where the opinions that we listen to and the discussions that we engage in are very intentionally chosen. Because while you may or may not have really any say in the coworkers and neighbors and classmates that you are around and you are interacting with and discussing things with in your physical life, you by necessity have to pick the people that you involve yourself with online. When you meet a person online who has a perspective that's very different or even contradictory to your own, what do? Do you just not follow/interact with them out of principle, or do you follow and interact with them out of principle with the desire to start a discussion? Do you follow them to benefit from what they have to say, to try and invest in them, your different perspective, or do you just ignore them? There's so many choices, and you have to make those choices every time that you go online. Sum it all up, we have a problem. And I don't have a solution, but I have some ideas. Starting with the don'ts. Don't be what I like to call a reactionary. A reactionary has the perspective that any time that someone says something they disagree with online, it is up to them. It is their duty to set the record straight, regardless of who is talking. Often the posts of reactionary have very little empathy behind them. It's all about getting your opinion out there very strongly and very boldly without really thinking about who you're talking to. And what that exposes is that the person is talking to really prove something to themselves or to people that think like them and not to people that disagree with them. Number 2 of the don'ts is don't assume that any conversation that won't have a unified consensus from everyone is not worth having. Not everything that's worth discussing is going to have universal appeal. This seems really obvious, but in the internet world where everyone is reaching for attention, you can sort of become fooled by this notion that you should and you can only have discussions that are going to have everybody backing you because those are the only profitable ones. Bringing it a little bit closer to home, the fear of a negative reaction kind of had me stuck for the first entire year, 2012, of doing this in terms of talking about Christianity. My religion and my relationship with the God of the Bible is the most important thing in my life. I don't always recognize that, and I don't always act consistent with that, but at the end of the day, that's what I come back to. And because it's that important to me, naturally, I want to talk about it. I want to share it with other people. I want to have discourse with people that disagree with me, because it's something that I value. That discussion is something that I think is worth talking about. What took me a while to reconcile, though, is that there's no one thing that I can say or I can make that is like going to have universal acclaim if I talk about Christianity. There are people that disagree with me. There are people that will disagree with me very strongly. And there are people that also think that, it's a bit of a party foul on my part for bringing it up in the first place. And there's nothing that I can really do about that. But for all the people real unimagined who very strongly oppose any sort of venture into this territory, there are other people that I feel that if I am open with, God might be able to use my testimony, my understanding, my experiences to shed some light on what Christianity is and why, it's valuable, why it's important. And that is worth it for me. And I really just had to realize that. Often in conversations about things that are very integral to who we are and how we see ourselves, things that define us on a very fundamental day-to-day basis, we have to make a choice. You have to choose between either posturing and serving your ego and trying to make yourself look like you have it all together and are very sure of yourself, or servicing the truth, trying to find points of concession and admitting that you as a person are not infallible. You can believe in something strongly, perhaps even irrefutably, while also having the humility to be able to say, the fact that I believe this is not justification itself that it's right. If you're in it for the momentary win and you're riding on the fact the other person concedes something to you so that you feel like you're more right than you were when they disagreed with you, then you're ultimately going to be led down a road of deception and twisting the truth that you have and posturing. rather than honesty and openness, and ultimately a better relationship. So seek the high road and seek out friends who are willing to do the same. This is Jacke Karashae wishing you defiance to convention with intelligent and rational internet debates.
With everything I say.